Hello and welcome to this week's retrospective. It's been a very busy week, but let me get to the point. I am still struggling to get on top of pivoting, sound like a GPT, moving from all the work that was done last year and putting that into a more productionized workflow now that digitizing events has got a clear identity of what it should be doing as a media asset. And one of the big things that we've been working on, which was talked about in one of my previous retrospectives, is how we make the further reading section below each article a little bit better. And as part of this retrospective, one of my clear insights is that the context and the right context that you feed into your AI. And I know I've said it a few times, but I just cannot reiterate how important it is. So the length of the prompt means less than the quality of it and the context it is giving. And I prefer the word context rather than prompt engineering because context, at least in my mind, the way I'm working with these things makes more sense because what you're saying is, here is stuff you need to know. Now I want you to do this. So what did that mean for the further reading? So in a previous retrospective, I said that we constructed a further reading block, and the new one is up on your screen now as I'm talking, where we changed the title, we changed the description, and the idea was that you created that further reading in context of the article someone was on. So this is going more and more towards deeper and deeper personalization, where you'd go, this article, and the example I'm showing is about fall AI, and there's a lead in which goes, this is what you should be reading further on. It's a living thing. And the previous example changed all the titles and the subjects, and that created a false expectation because the landing articles was not really entirely about what the GPT had rewritten in terms of title and description. What I was observing in the analytics was we were getting awesome click-throughs, but when people landed, they bounced because it just wasn't fulfilling that promise. So the change that's been made is that we retain the title as is, and the bottom lead has been changed to explain a little bit more about why it would be relevant. And while that has tuned down the click-throughs, the more important parameter, because it's two that work together. One is getting people to that second page. The other one is making sure that people stay on that page. So that once people move to that second page, that in old school parlance, that bounce rate isn't as high as it used to be. So that's been in production for a while, but only on a few test articles. So next week, it's going to be rolled out across the whole of the current visible assets of digitizing events. In other news, I must be doing something right because I'm invited to take part in 2 podcasts. So watch out for that. I'll put them out on LinkedIn and this channel when they're released to the world. And the first proof of concept of a very crazy production flow has been enabled, and it works. And let me tell you the problem that I'm trying to solve. All through last year, for those who followed, I had this belief, I mean, everything's a belief until you can prove that it works, that with AI, the execution of your media sites, your media assets, one of the ways of making them better and more engaging and differentiating is to make them multimodal. So if someone hits it, if they're not interested in reading your big long article that you've poured all your hours into. They just want to have a short summary. Yes, they can, and there's a written word summary, but they can also digest that with video and so on. So for 2026, I'm really going to push forward in doing the experiments that validate that this multimodality would be useful for engagement. So that's phase one. So what I was able to create was something whereby a short summary of what is the main value point of this article, like what is it actually saying, and then the rest of the article is evidence to that. Taking that short summary and turn it using I think it's about 8 AI models chained in such a way that you get a video of me at the minute explaining these articles. So that's gone from a sort of point and click production to a entirely automated production. If you want me to write that up, then please leave a comment. I am happy to do so. I've got a backlog of those to write up, so I'll add that to the queue. But the point of what I'm trying to do, and I'm intentionally making sure that those videos aren't, you know, haven't got that ultimate fidelity of looking like a complete photo shoot where I'm talking to camera. That's not the point. I want to try and inject them with a level of humor and even a level of intentional errors, intentional mistakes, like bad cuts and just stuff like that, because I want people to understand that this video, while it is entirely my words and entirely my meaning, it's also supposed to provide some little elements of surprise and entertainment. I think chasing perfection ends up with something that loses a complete human connection. So look out for those videos. Some of them might be quirkier than others, maybe learn my sense of humor along the way. Sometimes what's in my head, like the most recent one where I wanted to get the AI to talk about the fact that the words I use is like coder in a pocket. In my head, it was like the AI pulls out a cartoon coder and it's wiggling away and typing. I couldn't get that done, but I got something else done. So I hope you enjoy those. Thank you for watching this retrospective, and thank you for following this journey, liking, subscribing, and all of those things. I appreciate it.